What's up, everybody? This is Hush, aka How You Stop Him, aka Voice of Reason, aka No Noise, aka Unstoppable Hush. And this is Tell It How It Is, No Filter, episode 131. No longer giving a date. You'll get it. How is everyone? I hope all is well and things are to your liking. Things are to your dealings, because some people are doing great and some people are surviving, and we aren't to judge the difference. If you're doing great, that's wonderful. If you're surviving, I think that's great as well, because the biggest thing is you woke up. Every day you wake up, the minimum is you're surviving, and it's still a chance to be great. I'm gonna jump right in. Andrew Berry. Andrew Berry, remember that name. It's a young black man, 34 years old. First year as a VP exec of the Cleveland Browns. Now, when I was growing up, I didn't know. I mean, it's not like the presidency where you have to be a certain age per se, but I felt that when I heard this news, that I felt he was young. Not young in a negative way, like, oh, he can't do it. Like, yo, that's dope. I mean, it might be players older than him going still. So either way, his first year VP exec of Cleveland Browns at 3.3 mil for that year. So let's see what happens. I'm not a Cleveland Browns fan, I'm not gonna lie. I don't hate them, but and we could stop using that, because you know your team is your team and who's not your team, it doesn't mean, you know, there's some rivals, but that ain't what all that is. So that's it. Congrats and salute to Andrew Berry. That's dope. Let's see more of that. Football as a whole is in its preseason. They're in the guts of it now. I always wondered, like, for the coaching staff, during preseason, you're trying plays out, you're trying players out, and, you know, you're seeing what works. You see what you can use as weapons for the season. Now, I haven't really analyzed to see throughout all of the football, preseason versus regular, how much of what they took from the preseason did they really use in the regular season and in their playoff runs and whatever. So my question is, how do y'all do that? Like that's like, hats off for that. Because if I'm a coach and we're doing preseason, I'm letting some young guys get some run and they doing it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they getting paid, they should. But they doing it, plays are working that you probably wouldn't pick as a first option play in the regulars. So now, let's fast forward all that. You see the progress of that, and now the season starts. Are you worried about egos and emotions, or do you want to kind of like, yo, listen, we want to win, right? So whatever it takes. So if my third string quarterback came out firing, yeah, you know, he's not going to get the number one slot per se, but I'm going to use him. You know, the thing is, I have a pet peeve with using me after we already being beat. So, like, if they start the regular season with their regular lineup and they're kind of behind, and now you want to throw in the people who was clicking in the preseason, yeah, they might get the lead back, or they might make it close or tie it, but you got to give those guys a shot. And I'm no expert in this, so you know, I don't have the real answers. It's just my opinion and my view on it. But, yo, that's dope. Like, players want to play. So you got to kind of incorporate them somehow. I know that quarterback position and maybe running back and wide receiver, those are ego positions, meaning like whoever's been had it and been clicking is going to look at me crazy like, yo, you really think that I want to sit back? You know what I mean? I mean, the wide receiver, the running back, you know, all those other positions, they could swap out during plays, during downs and shit. But I know the quarterback, they could do that too. So I'm just saying, like, I hope y'all can work that out, and I know it's not easy. And I mean that as a whole, but I was watching the Cleveland Browns-Giants game, and that's why I drew that from that. Summerjam went down. Yes, it did. Some thought that, you know, But it went down. Dababy performed despite the controversy. Yes, Hot 97 gave him a chance, and he shouted them out and showed love back. I mean, people make mistakes, right? I think I mentioned it before. Whatever was going on with him, I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying crucify the guy. You know, you gotta pay for what you do. You know what I'm saying? There's repercussions, but maybe he's learned his lesson and humbled himself down just a little bit to now know that in that type of limelight, you have to, you gotta walk on eggshells anyways. Getting more sensitive every day with what you could say, what you could do. So you should already know that. So kudos to that though. And yeah, Summerjam went down. I think I saw a clip of Fabio there. I saw a picture with Ferg, ASAP Ferg. I saw a couple of folks, but Polo G. I mean, my bad. And such. So the biggest thing for me was the Swiss Beach tribute to X. I wasn't there. I do enough research to know what went down, and it looked like it went the way it should have went. You know what I mean? Give or take. The reason there was question for this is I want to, talk on Hurricane Henri. I pray for whoever, wherever it hit that caused any real damage or inconvenience. I pray, that, you'll recover from that. It'll be all right. Did it really hit like it shoulda? I think we had hurricane-like weather, but I'm not a meteorologist or any of those kind of categories to solidify that. But yeah, it was some heavy rains at times and flooding and all of that. So we hope that, this over, we passed it, and things weren't detrimental, and like I said, no huge damages, just real probably inconvenience. But as you can see, Summerjam still went down. I think a Yankee game was postponed. Yeah, so hopefully that's over. It's pretty, the seasons and the weathers could do what it want, because I'm like, a hurricane could happen anytime. I guess that's a sign of the tail end of summer, but that doesn't mean every time we get that heads up or that type of sign. But yeah, hope you know that summer is coming to a close, and hope you enjoy as much of it as you can. You still have a few weeks left. It's really over once Labor Day passes. And that's it for that. Yeah, I got through the current events quick. 7 minutes. Damn, I ran through that. I thought that was gonna take more time. I'll go in since I got two big ones. Are there men? I'm talking to the fellas. Are there women you have encountered that wanted too much sex? More than you want? Or do you think that it was because you wasn't as attracted to them anymore after the first few go-rounds? So, I'm talking in a setting of, you're doing your thing. I'm not gonna really narrow it down. You're doing your thing. No matter what your situation is, you're doing your thing. And you come across a young lady or whatever, y'all get busy. I think almost every first, it's really hard, and it's not for me to finalize. It's really hard for a female, right? For a guy that if he pursues something, which I'm sure he had a lot to do with it going down with his aggressive and his approach and all of that. So it's very hard to say or not. It doesn't happen often, I don't think. These are all assumptions. For a female to be whack the first time, it take a lot, and when I say whack, I mean just not satisfying to the partner. Different strokes, different folks. There's some whack people that, I'm sorry, again, not satisfying to the partner, that they can go on and they were great to someone else, or they were great to someone else before you. So again, if you do, fellas, come across a situation where the first time was pretty damn good, second time, whatever, I ain't gonna count how many times it takes, but after a while you're like, eh. So that's the only mental preparation to say that a woman would want it more than him, because we're judged as we want it all the time. When does a man not want it if it's offered? It's like your favorite food. It's like money almost, right? Who's not gonna, offer me $100 every other day? I'm never gonna be like, nah. Really? Depends. But anyway, so, do you think that that's just a bummer? Like, damn, I like it a lot. I'm a high volume person with that. So for me to say that something is too much, it would have to resemble me not digging it like that. You know what I mean? And everybody's had their encounters, and I'm sure if you let women chime in, they'd be like, satisfying them. But I think, like, I don't know. If I can judge all, or any kind of percentage, I probably can't judge. I'm just going to say a few, the ones you may know. That's really good, like really, really good, kind of consistently. They will never want it more than you. I'm just going to jump out on a limb and say that. The really good ones, I mean, like, whoo, really good. And that's a mental thing per individual, because even the ones you call great, someone calls It's a whole, that's a big world. It's a big world. It's a lot of people that live in this world. Your great can be average somewhere. Listen, it is what it is. You got to do you, right? So, the ones again that deem great, I don't think that you can ever worry about a man saying that they want it too much if it's great to him. I think the whole story lies behind you're not being that good for a man to say you want it too much. Unless we're talking older folks, and I don't want to really say an age, everything, like I said, walking on eggshells, but this is my friggin' platform, so fuck that. If you're 60 plus, 70 plus, you may hear that type of people say that, but come on. Who is he fucking with? A 20-year-old? 30-year-old? There's a lot of that too. But in any event, yeah, that should be the only reason that you hear that. So I just gave some knowledge. I actually solved something. I had a few podcasts where we were still left with for a while, right? So I think that one I can talk with confidence as far as the guy side of things. I know women have a perspective as well, and who they encounter and who they thought was whack off rip, or again, not satisfying. Yes, ladies, if a guy says you want it too much, he may not say it. If he behaves like you want it too much, you're probably not his cup of tea like that. And that's fine. Like, there's many guys who will find you as their cup of tea. But if you're really on it like that with this person, that would make you want to switch up some things maybe. Try some things. I know there's some women who are prideful that don't have to resort to porn or look at porn or look up anything because they think they're the shit. And I'm not saying that to be sarcastic, but you gotta humble yourself if you see certain signs of certain things. I know communication is key, and if he can just keep it a stack and say that to you, I don't know how that would go. But the message is, women, men never not want it. You know what I mean? Almost never. So, again, research, look up some things. You don't really have to go discuss this with anyone. You can do this on your own. Put your big girl panties on, and if you have to resort to some porn, or if you just yourself are that articulate where you could just think of some things off rip to put it in play. Switch it up a little bit. Get a little, nasty. We love that. I don't want to make this too raunchy of a segment, but we like nasty. We really do. And timing of it is almost, you're almost flawless with that, because there's no such thing as a bad timing of too nasty. Unless, I don't know. There's a lot of scenarios where the nasty approach will work. I know that. So work on that. And then if that's what you felt you had in your arsenal, then try the opposite. Try the soothing, softer part of it. Because a lot of dudes, tough and rough and, yeah, they like that other side too. You know what I mean? So basically it's about having a switch up in general. If you're not really that nasty, work on that. If you felt you are, then work on the softer side of things. But still, there's a way to resolve this. You know what I mean? So, kudos to that. You can thank me later. Just, work on that. Far as the women, I ain't really going there. I might discuss that, on another platform somewhere else, where I try to figure out why women would think that men wanted too much. You know what? It's early in the pod. I got time. I'm speeding past these subjects, so I'm gonna take a quick dive. Women, if you feel a man wants it too much, can I call you lazy? Oh man, that could be a factor. I'm not gonna just dedicate it to that. Preservation. Men, we gotta understand, we are entering a woman's womb. Age may play a factor, it may not. We're entering a womb that they may want to preserve. They may want it to stay a certain consistency of, where as they get older, it's still intact. It's still as if it was new. It's like buying a brand new car and taking care of it and seeing how long you could get down the road with it. That could be a mental strategy they had. That could be cap as well. But give them that. But ladies, how much? I don't know. I think the babies matter. Like how many kids they have, how many kids they want to have. I don't, again, I'm not a female. I can't really dissect it. These are just opinions and guesstimations about it. What they call that? Hypothesis. But anyway, I don't know. But I know the message is kind of alarming because it's not an ultimatum and it doesn't, justify if you feel that way and then your guy wants to explore elsewhere or do other things. There's always arguments that, what he can do legally, the whole porn masturbation thing, pause. But if he wants to indulge further, that can really be a factor where we're not saying he's right, but is it malicious as just somebody who's greedy? Because how much is too much for you, ladies? It can still be worked out to where it's reasonable. And that's amongst y'all, because it's not for me to sit here and place a certain number on what's reasonable. But if y'all discuss things and you get to a reasonable pattern, because I don't think you can sit there and really give a number. It's a pattern, it's a feel, it's like your body talks the time that passes. You know what I mean? It's not you sitting there counting, it's been 4 days. I think your body reacts to the distance, to the time that you've been apart in that way. So I think women and men, body language speaks louder than words. So if that can be, again, worked out to where your body responds, I think that even if it's still not enough for the man, as you would say, you're at least meeting him halfway, and you'll feel, I don't want to jump and say disrespected, or you'll feel really shitty if you feel like you met him halfway and he still has to go elsewhere. But that's per appetite, per individual. And that takes maturity too. Certain age, when you wake up and kind of say, all right, compromise if you want to. But I wasn't trying to go down the compromise road really and turn it there. I just was trying to say that, men and women have different views on this too much sex thing. And for guys, it's kind of black and white. And for women, it's a little more complicated than that. They have their reasoning and all of that. So I don't really know. It's harder for me to solve that side of the problem because women have various reasons for shit that they do. All I can tell the fellas is that they're masculine and ego and pride, so I really can't like suggest the absolute solution. But yeah, you gotta know what you're playing with. Like, if you gonna do you, I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying, like, it's a lot, again, that could be the reasons. And women kind of stand behind how they feel very long, very sternly. So if the maturity of the guy you're with is not there, you know, and he's not understanding, and you feel like you're meeting him halfway with that, and he still wants to indulge, then you got to make a decision. You know what I mean? And I'm not about tearing people apart, but I'm just saying you got to make a decision. You know, there's nobody in the world that I know that I want to say, oh, nah, I don't want them together. What kind of shit is that? I'm just saying, realistically, these things are issues, you know? And it's back to the vice versa of how I solve the other problem. So with women, I gave y'all some things y'all can try, and I'm pretty sure that that will help. But in that case as well, if you try some things, switch it up, and he still seems to think you want it too much, then that may be over. That may be something you have to take into consideration. Because that does that hurt more? That probably hurts more if a woman, yeah, it looks crazy. If there's a woman that a guy has that a guy says you want sex too much, but yeah, he does him, that's a total slap in the face. Because how are you saying she wants too much, but you are still doing extra shit? And I ain't judging, whatever. But that looks crazier. You feel me? So damn, that just opened up a whole wound. You know what I'm saying? Because if that woman does, I can't judge though. I think I've done that. Yes, I'm saying it on my platform. I think I've done that. In fact, I know I did it. I'm kind of like making it more complicated than it has to be, because I also said that it's them. So it's not the act of sex. Here, go to cleanup. Here, go to cleanup. It's not the act of sex that's too much. It's with that person. But for us guys, we should keep it a little more tall and say, you need to step it up. You need to do this or that. Find a subtle way or explain yourself instead of just leaving it out there, because that's probably what's confusing or more hurtful. So I'm not saying I'm justifying the act, but it's true. It goes back to, you really shouldn't hear that comment from men that are active. So if he doesn't want to do it as much with you, but he's doing it elsewhere, you're not it. Something about what you're doing is not hitting like that. And it may have worked the first time. It may have been hitting the first or second time. But you have to switch it up. He cannot eat fried chicken every night. I'm just going to leave that there, because I got one more I want to get to. And I'm just saying, women, research, try to make it better, switch it up. Men, if you can really have the intelligence and the patience mentally to try to figure out why it's limited for you, then you got to work around that. So I feel like the man's job is slightly harder, definitely slightly more mental than the female side of things. Females, I kind of gave you the blueprint. Guys, we just have to have the patience and the mental capacity to tackle it. I'm moving on. So, briefly, I can say there are people who verbally seem to care and physically seem to care. Well, the physical care is more definite than seeming. So when I say that, I say you got people who reach out collectively through your devices, texts, maybe phone calls, however, very calculated, just to see if you're alive, just to see if shit is all right, or appears, to seem like they just want to know if you good. Some of that could be nosiness, some of that could be just for their own conscience, like, let me just, make it a look. I'm not really like labeling to the T how that is, but You can decide if that's enough to really consider this person a person in your immediate circle, immediate friend, somebody you really count as almost family, versus the physical ones who care. So let me give you, and it's not to like say that because I have these examples that whoever doesn't live up to that, it's not a competition thing. It's just how you feel mentally about it. So I give an example. I call someone my brother. He lives X amount of miles away. He has a gathering. I'm invited. The timing of the gathering was a little inconvenient. So it appeared that I wasn't going. He then turns and offers, I'm a grown ass man, offers to come get me, bring me to the gathering, and then bring me back. Again, he's not around the corner. Does he have to do that? No. Does that mean he's the best person in the world and there's no malicious in him at all? In today's day and age, it can still go funky. It can still go left off of something. So again, the example wasn't to praise and make like this perfectionist. What I'm saying is, in that moment, in that example, that showed me someone who physically cares more than verbally cares. That's just an example. Now, everybody doesn't have to do that to get certified. I'm just saying that's a hell of an example. And now you have to ask yourself, would you have done the same? Absolutely. Absolutely. Some people got to see that happen first to say that they would do the same. I'm saying whether he did that or not, I would have did the same. And there's some people where you can vouch that heavy, and there's some people that you can't. And you should break that down and see where shit lies right now. Especially the older you get, the more mature you get. The circle does shrink. These memes and stuff about it, it's true. You may come in the game with 30 players, but you probably gonna start to shave off at about middle age. That 30 is down to 15 maybe. And then look, when you round in third base, 50, 60, that 15 might be 5. And yes, some may be lost to life. Rest in peace. Prayers. Some may be, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. It's funky how it go, but it go. You know what I'm saying? So, just analyze that. That's not something I solved. It's not resolved. It's not something that can be talked about for a few minutes. So, I just wanted to, like, tickle your fancy, pause, and see what you think about that. And analyze around you now. Who verbally cares and who physically cares? Because you got some people that's just not doing certain shit. Yeah, they'll talk, and pep talks and words of encouragement, they can be effective as well. So you don't necessarily minus the value of that, but you just know where that person stands. And sometimes you could just take their wording. Sometimes a phone conversation can make a difference. But then you gotta know, and this reduces stress, disappointment, and false expectations to think people are going to do certain things that they clearly show you that they're not. So, my example, maybe on the phone, is not as perfected or effective, should I say, as what he did. Again, the riding to come get me, to bring me back. I can have my conversations about whatever in life during that, but to maybe pick up the phone and just chat with the same person, maybe it's not as effective. So people have different purposes. I get that. It wasn't malicious to say that you cut off the verbally caring people versus the physically. I'm just saying to know the difference and don't get upset when they come up short. There's some people who just not, and I think maybe women do this more, so maybe they need to pay attention more. There's some times where you need somebody to physically be there. Pull up, lean on the shoulder, a hug, a face-to-face talk to kind of get shit out of you. Sometimes you really need that. And then you gotta know who's not gonna do that. There's people that could vouch verbally. I'm there. You know I'm here, right? And it's bullshit. It's bullshit. Just know the difference and you won't get your feelings hurt. That's all I'm saying. Know the difference. And place it accordingly. You can still be cool. I'm not saying to cut nobody off behind this. It may come to the cutting offs. If the deeper shit you go through, if you're going through some hella shit where it's just pouring and pouring, you may have to cut because now you need the physical way more often than verbal. Some people just have little dry spells with shit they going through, then they bounce back. And if you're alright, then you don't even experience this. You don't even see what I'm even saying here. But pay attention, because there's certain people that just not doing certain shit. And you handle that how you handle that. So until next time, y'all be safe. I'll holla. Tell it how it is.